For over 2 decades, India has blamed Pakistan for every major act of violence in Kashmir. From bombings to shootouts, India's story has remained the same, always pointing fingers across the border. But what if many of these attacks were actually staged? What if the real story is darker and deliberately hidden? This video walks you through the verified false flag operations either carried out or covered up by the Indian state, all in the name of narrative warfare, political gains and silencing dissent in occupied Kashmir. It began with the cold-blooded murder of 35 innocent Sikhs in the village of Chhattisinghpora during US President Bill Clinton's visit to India. Within hours, Indian officials claimed Pakistan-backed militants had done it. It was a perfect setup: mass killing, global headlines and ready-made blame. But cracks appeared quickly. US diplomats on the ground questioned India's version. Families of the victims, journalists and even retired Indian officers raised their doubts. But the worst came weeks later when 5 so-called militants were killed in a supposed encounter in Pathribal. Their bodies were charred and their faces were unrecognizable. India said that they were the Chhattisinghpora attackers, but DNA tests told a different story, that they were civilians, innocents. The truth was damning. The Central Bureau of Investigation, India's own agency, called it a case of cold-blooded murder. Yet no one was punished and the case was quietly shut down in 2014. The real killers of the Sikh villagers were never found, because maybe they were never meant to be. 3 young Kashmiri boys were lured to the line of control with promises of jobs. Hours later, they were declared infiltrators and killed by the army. Pictures showed weapons planted beside their dead bodies, and reports even say that black paint was used to paint fake beards. But this time, the truth could not be buried. A public uprising forced the army to court-martial its own men. 7 soldiers were convicted. It was one of the very few times that the mask slipped, revealing how easily lives are taken to script a narrative. Then came India's so-called surgical strikes in 2016. The government claimed it struck terror camps across the border, a bold military victory. Indian media turned it into a patriotic frenzy. But on the ground, there was nothing. No camp, no bodies, no craters. Pakistan took foreign journalists to the sites and they found nothing but silence and trees. Independent analysts even reviewed satellite imagery and again, no evidence of any strike. No visible damage, just loud claims and zero proof. In 2019, India upped the game. After the Pulwama suicide attack, killing 40 soldiers, again blamed instantly on Pakistan, Indian jets crossed into Pakistani airspace and bombed Balakot. They claimed to have destroyed Jaish-e-Mohammed camps, but what did they actually hit? A few pine trees and a crow. Satellite images showed no structural damage. There were no bodies, no funerals, and the biggest lie? India claimed to have shot down a Pakistani F-16. The US State Department later said that also never happened. The Pulwama attack itself raised questions. The bomber, Adil Dar, was a local Kashmiri, not sent by Pakistan, yet within minutes, India blamed Islamabad and launched airstrikes. The timing was suspicious. It came just weeks before the national elections. Modi surged in the polls because the harsh truth is, war sells, even if it's fake. And most recently, the Pelgam massacre in April 2025, where 26 tourists were left dead, India once again blamed Pakistan. But then came the leaks. A psychological warfare manual, possibly leaked from Indian intelligence, mentioned controlled false flag escalation. Pakistan's government accused India of staging the attack. Even US officials declined to endorse Delhi's version. In every one of these cases, the pattern is painfully clear. Blame Pakistan immediately. Don't wait for forensics. Let media sell the story and suppress the truth. Because if it helps the elections or distracts from internal chaos, it's worth the price, even if the price is human lives. The only case where justice was actually served was the Machil. The fake encounter happened not because of the state, but because Kashmiri people refused to stay silent. These are not conspiracy theories, they're verified incidents backed by India's own investigators, forensic reports, satellite evidence, and global observers. It's time the world stops listening to headlines and starts reading the truth between the lines. Because in Kashmir, truth is most often the first casualty. That's all for today, folks. Stay tuned for more updates here on Policy One.